And hello, and welcome to another episode of Improperly Packaged, a show where we unbox topics related to movies, TV, games, and whatever really. I'm Jordan. With me is Luke. How are you doing, Luke?
Welcome, one and all. Here we
Welcome.
are.
Let's all
Another
sing.
week.
Another week,
Another
and
week on Earth.
another week, another song to start the podcast. How was your Halloween, Luke?
um, Pretty much completely uneventful.
Okay, well, good.
We went to Epcot the night before, so I guess that was my Halloween.
All right.
We didn't actually do anything on Halloween.
Didn't have any vampires and demons and ghosts stop by your door and be like, "Oh shoot, I'm sorry, we thought humans were here, but it turns out it's a Power Ranger." So I guess we're gonna leave.
This isn't our lair. Sorry, we took the wrong turn.
Isn't that the whole thing about Halloween? It's like you're trying to trick all the ghosts and ghouls that, oh, sorry, my bad.
Huh.
Yeah, I thought, you were a human that I was trying to scare, but it turns out you're Wolverine.
It's not my understanding, but I like that theory.
That's right. I mean, that we saw it in practice in the movie Hocus Pocus
Right.
when they were wondering about, and they're like,
Yeah.
this isn't a child.
And
This
everyone
is
knows that the origins of Halloween are really based on everything in Hocus Pocus.
that's my understanding.
Historians have made note of this, obviously.
That's that it's always been my understanding of it.
It's funny how movies like that end up, I don't know, they just get all the notes right, you know?
Oh yeah,
There's so many movies like that through history, like Hocus Pocus, that just nobody remembers. They weren't that good.
of course.
And not that Hocus Pocus is like this amazing movie or anything, but it's a good fun time for, a Halloween movie. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
There's
It's
our
it's it's
Hocus
a
Pocus
it's a
video.
scary but like not scary enough that you couldn't let the kids watch it kind of movie. So it just kind of fits into like so many people's like category who don't want to watch like Halloween or something.
There was a
Something's
lot of
freaky.
that in like the 90s and 80s and 90s. We were talking about when we were watching Indiana Jones, but like movies that like really towed the line and like had
Yeah.
some kind of creepy stuff for
Hmm.
kids, but it was like, yeah, it was like a
Yeah.
PG movie, but it was also for kids and it was kind of
Yeah.
creepy. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a good one.
Glad to see you made it out all right though.
Frighteners. I always point to people to that one too.
Yeah.
It's right there with Hocus Pocus,
We
I
will
would say.
forever point.
I'm so glad. I always I'm so glad you showed me that movie.
Man, a badge of honor right there. Yeah, but
What'd you do? You do anything?
nothing, man.
Did you get any trick or treaters?
No, no.
We did. We got one. And I
Really?
didn't bought any candy.
What'd you
So I have this candy that I
do?
bought at IKEA that I really like. It's kind of like a mix between Sour Patch Kids and Swedish Fish. It's called Sour Vikings. This company that makes like a bunch of these different candies are just, gummy candies basically. They're essentially Sour Patch, but they just taste a little different. And yeah, they're kind of my temptation. So last time we were at IKEA, we bought like 5 bags of them because it's like, 2 hours away to IKEA. So it's
Hmm.
like, just have them. How long does it take candy to go bad? Quite a while. So I'm sure it'll be fine. So I just handed the kid like this fairly large bag of
I was about
like
to say, how much
Sour
did you give
Vikings.
him?
I'm like, I don't have a lot of candy, but I have this. So, I really like them. Hope you do.
I really
And
hope you're it as well.
he was the, you'll know the technical version of it, but the Into the Spider Verse version of Spider Man with like the darker costume
Oh,
on. And
Miles. Yeah,
was a
Miles
really good
Morales.
one. Yeah.
Awesome.
So yeah, it
That's excellent.
was a good costume.
Yeah, he deserved the giant bag of Viking. What?
Sour Vikings,
Sour
yeah,
Vikings.
they're really good. I think his dad was a Pikachu, maybe,
Was he
or something. I think
like?
they actually live in our neighborhood. I think I've seen them when we take our walks around the neighborhood. They're nice people, but it was encouraging to see someone on Halloween. It's just
Yeah.
so sad not seeing people out. Apparently, my friends up north were saying that they were seeing people in their neighborhood. So hope everyone stayed safe and
Mm-hmm.
had a good Halloween.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we did not have a soul stop by. I mean,
Yeah.
and then We are
It's not
not.
exactly the perfect spot for trick or treating, anyways.
No, we're
Kind of a
in
busy road.
busy road. I mean, if trick or treaters were on our road, I wouldn't stop at our
Yeah.
our. We have like a 12 unit setup here where there's like 12 apartments. I wouldn't stop by. It's
You
not
want
like
one of those neighborhoods where like cars are going like 15 miles an hour or less, and
yeah.
you can be like, Susie, get out of the road. You're gonna get run over.
Instead of instant death.
Instead of ah!
Instead of the plot of Pet Cemetery unfolding right before you. Yeah, but we turned the lights off, the porch. We don't have it, if we don't have any Swedish Vikings, it would have been like,
Swedish Viking.
here kid, here's a box of uncooked noodles or something. I don't know.
Hey, you gotta eat, right?
It's
You gotta
something.
eat.
It's something.
Here's that liquid gold, that mac and cheese liquid gold.
Oh yeah, that would have been awesome if I was a kid. I love that crap.
Yeah. Mom, make it.
We got to go home right now, Mom. I'm
want
done
this.
trick-or-treating. Let's
Forget
go
the
home.
candy.
Exactly.
Want some noodles and cheese. The weird thing for us here in Gainesville too, not that it applies to you, but for the people who are sports fans, was it was right during the Gator game. The Gator game started, the Florida football game started at 7. So it was like, we did have the lights on because it was Gator game. My parents came over and we were all watching it. So it's like we're hooting and hollering about the game, and then somebody rings the bell.
Here
I'm like,
comes Pikachu.
I told you, I knew somebody was going to come, and we weren't going to have candy. I have to give up my precious Vikings.
Well, I'm glad that kid had a treat.
I know.
Not a trick.
I hope he's enjoying them right now.
Yeah.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween, kid. Anyways, man, what have you? It is your turn this weekend to start us off. What have you been watching / playing / listening to? Well done.
Oh, we're dorks. So a band that I think you will like, Jordan. I'm gonna gear this one specifically to you. Is Jet Black Alley Cat.
Jet Black Alley Cat.
And I've enjoyed quite a few of their songs. They have a new song out called All Out of Luck. I enjoy that song. That top song, She's All Right, is very enjoyable as well. But yeah, they're kind of a mix of a lot of the indie bands we like Night Traveler, mixed with kind of a little bit of the indie rock, little harder indie rock that we enjoyed when we were younger. And I'm trying to think of the name of a band, an older band that is like them, but I'm blanking on a specific one. But they just have that. They're a soft band, but they have that hard edge a little bit to them. Like they have that guitar in most of their songs. It's pretty hard edged, and so yeah, they're just good. They kind of a little bit of Fall Out Boy in there. Like I said, a little bit of Night Traveler. I don't know, just yeah.
I put a like on it.
Stuff.
I put a like on it.
There's one song I just have to recommend because I've been listening to it so many times. So my favorite by far singer-songwriter right now is Dermot Kennedy. I love his stuff. I think he's heartfelt. He writes songs that are based on like real experiences that he's had. Nobody else writes for him. He's from Ireland, and he teamed up with this guy Medusa, who I guess is like a dance whatever. Yeah, I don't know what
they're a dance whatever.
What exactly. I don't know. He creates dance music basically. He teams up with a lot of people and does these mashups, but he did a song with Dermot called Paradise, and yeah, really good.
Paradise just came out.
Dermot's voice just fits so well for that kind of music. He's got such a just powerful, soulful voice. Just yeah,
good song. I put a like on it. I see it. Paradise featuring Dermot Kennedy.
Yep.
Awesome.
You've been rocking out too.
Not too much new here. I have to say that song that you said that I would like. I in fact do like, the Red Earth.
Red Earth and the Pouring Rain.
It's such a good song. It wasn't that whole album. It's a good album, but that song is in particular is very nice. Nothing too crazy to recommend here. My wife sent me a song and I was like, wow, this is very good. So I thought I'd recommend it. It's from a solo artist where I've lost track of him. I haven't heard from him in a long time. He had like one big hit back in the 2000s, but it's been a while since we've heard from our boy Matt Kearney.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a while.
Yeah, I listened to him a lot for a
Yeah,
while.
same. And I haven't really heard it in a while, but he came out with a new song like last week called Grand Canyon, and I'm sure it's lead up to some sort of album coming out. But man, you know when you ever get the feeling when like these guys were or he or whoever was writing this song, and I'm sure at the moment when they were writing it, they were like, "Wow, we have a really good chorus right here." Like this song
Yeah.
has been stuck in my head so much. This chorus is so catchy. But
Mm-hmm.
it's one of those songs. But yeah, I highly recommend it. It's a fun song. Nothing too crazy or different, but it's just one of those songs like solid, very solid. But
Yeah.
that's pretty much it.
He's another one with a good voice.
Oh yeah,
Like his tone.
very rich.
Yeah. So, I'm assuming you're done.
Yeah, that's it. I am done.
I've been watching a few things. I'll go through like the ones that from the ones I don't care as much about, don't have a lot to say about, to the ones I have a lot to say about. So we watched Scooby Doo from 2002.
Okay.
Because I was like, I do want to watch some Halloween stuff like you have been, but I don't know. I just didn't really want to watch like actual scary stuff.
House of a Thousand Corpses.
I've changed over the years. You and I used to watch quite a few of that stuff.
We watched a lot of schlock too. A lot of those
Yeah.
dollar bin horror movies.
Yeah, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre kind of stuff and Freddy vs. Jason.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't enjoy that as much, or like the many haunting of and possession of. And
Oh yeah, there's a lot of ofs.
Yeah, the exorcism of. So yeah, we watched Scooby Doo 2002. It was a remake, or I guess it was the first live action version of Scooby Doo. And I have to say, like I said, I don't have a lot to say about it. It's just it's a silly, goofy movie. They go to an island, solve the mystery. It takes from the cartoon directly. But I will say, like, I don't really get why people hate this movie so much. It's like Metascore has it at like a 35, and
gosh,
I'm not sitting here thinking that this is an amazing movie or anything, but like, look at the source material, people. Like,
yeah,
what are we talking about here? It's Scooby Doo. It's a dog that like is able to talk to his like human partners, and like they goofily figure out a mystery, and that's exactly what happens in the movie. So I just I don't really get where they're complaining about it. It's like, I thought all the people, Matthew Lillard, Freddie Prinze Jr., Sarah Michelle Gellar, I thought they all did a fine job. Like, they played their characters the way they would have. Linda Cardellini, I thought, I'd always think she's a great actress. She played Velma. Rowan Atkinson, like,
oh, that's right.
You think about like all the people that were in this movie. It's kind of surprising.
Yeah,
like it would just be way too much money to get all these people together to do a movie like that again. Isla Fisher is Mary Jane, who ends up being Matthew Lillard's like girlfriend in the
that's right
in the movie. And
hey,
yeah, those people would demand like high budgets at this point. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a totally fine movie. I'd give it at least a 6 or a 7. It's just like, it did Scooby Doo justice, and that's all you can say. It's not like we're not taking some great American novel and turning it into a movie.
No.
So
I think it's better than the recent one that came out. That Scoob. Scoob was okay, but hey, that live action one I think was actually better. Hey, Sarah Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze Jr., they fell in love on the set of that one.
Is that right?
They're still married. So there you go.
Were they not married before this? That's when they got married.
It may have been a Bruin.
Yeah.
And during I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yeah.
And maybe exploded on Scooby Doo.
Well, I thought it was a really good cast. Like I said, I don't get the complaints. I don't have a lot to say about the movie itself. I think it's fine, but yeah, just come on, judge it fairly. Another interesting thing, James Gunn did the screenplay to that movie.
Oh, really? Okay.
So yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
It's a different time, 2002, so it's a long time ago. So one of the things I have a little bit more to say about. I watched Avengers Endgame again for only the second time. So, for those of you who don't know, which is probably no one, this this is 10 years, a little more than 10 years of Marvel movies led up to Endgame, and obviously fans got very invested, and I would say I'm definitely up there with people who are super invested in that series. And watching it a second time, it was emotional, honestly.
Yeah.
It sounds super goofy because it's a
No.
movie and it's movie characters, but they scripted it really well. They had tender moments with each of the heroes, and especially going back on it, it was tougher for me knowing who was going to go. I don't think I want to spoil anything at this point. I know that movie's a little old at this point, but it's new enough that if anybody hasn't seen it, I wouldn't want to ruin it for them. So
Yeah.
I won't go into spoilers, but knowing who was going to, you know, have things happen to them later in the movie, it was tough watching it. And yeah, man, I'm so glad I waited this long. It really was special for me watching it again, this, removed from everything, and knowing how the brakes really have been thrown on Marvel since then. It kind of puts more weight behind like
Yeah.
how cool it was what they did, and just a great script. Just yeah, I mean, they couldn't have done a better wrap up of so many different storylines. Just I mean, I can't praise it enough. To me it, especially in like the superhero movie category, it's a masterpiece. Like it just yeah. It's a masterclass in how to make a superhero movie feel good and, meaningful and not quirky and just silly and like hacky. It's like, yeah, just they did everything right in my opinion. And
Yeah.
Infinity War was an amazing movie as well, but I loved how Endgame gave you closure on so many things, and it was just great in so many ways.
As I said, it was like it's a miracle. It's a miracle that we got those movies and they turned out the way they did. And like
Yeah.
and I'm glad. I think like I had like kind of a sigh of relief after Endgame was over because the MCU will go on and we'll see how to what success and what quality it will be. But and I've remember thinking and after Endgame, yeah, if it ended there, I would still be like, wow, what did we do to deserve getting
Yep.
these movies and them to be as good as they are? So yeah, heck yeah, man. And you got to see it on your bougie new TV, no less.
Yeah, that was one of the reasons I wanted to watch it.
Yeah.
Because it was 4K HDR.
You saved yourself.
But yeah, it also like puts more weight behind it when you see how so many other companies have fumbled the ball on trying to collect all their heroes or villains or whatever into worlds and
Hmm.
a whole universe, and it's just shows you how hard it is. Just it's
You're
a
talking about the
really tough
Dark
thing.
Universe, of
So
course. Universal's Dark Universe.
that's one of them.
So yeah.
DC, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
they seem like jokes. That's kind of what you're saying. It's like a joke. It seems like jokes when you see compared to what Marvel has done.
Yeah.
That's a testament to how well they did. So, anyways, that's enough about that. It's a great movie. If you haven't seen it a second time or a 14th time, do it because it's so good. Wraps up so well, and
100%.
yeah, I was crying.
Yeah,
it
man.
was it was hard, but really good. So I also watched a movie that I'd been wanting to watch, Mr. Adam Sandler coming back from his hiatus for a long time, doing a serious movie in Uncut Gems last year.
Okay.
Finally got to see this movie, and yeah, it's quite a movie. It's interesting. It's very unique. That's something I always love to praise movies for. And this one, it had its own tone. It kind of told its own story. It didn't feel like it was taking from any other movies, and yeah, it's interesting where the story goes. If people haven't seen the trailer, or whatever, it's basically Adam Sandler's this fast talking New York City Jewish jewel dealer, I guess would be the term. But
Jewel
he has
dealer.
he has like a floor in which he sells jewels, like in the back. It's like a high end, super expensive diamonds and rubies and all
Hmm.
this stuff, watches and all this things. And It's interesting how much of a role KD plays in it. Kevin Durant from the Celtics.
So he actually
It's
has
interesting.
plot reasons.
Oh yeah, he's
Wow.
like one of the main plot lines of the movie.
He's
like
playing
without
himself.
him, yeah,
That's
he's
so
just playing
funny.
himself, and it's like it's very important what he does. So yeah, kind of interesting. But yeah, I would definitely recommend this. It won some awards. It got nominated for some things. Won 24 wins, 76 nominations. It says on IMDb.
Mm-hmm.
I can see why. I think Adam Sandler did a really good job. It just shows you what his how wide his skill set is in acting.
Yeah, he's so talented.
Yeah, so yeah, definitely worth a watch. Where is it streaming?
It's on Netflix. I know that. I've been wanting to
Right.
check it out. I just haven't gotten to it yet. I definitely want to get to that because I've been wanting to watch it.
Yeah, it's worth a watch for sure. It's interesting. Idina Menzel is in it, and her name in the show. Why does it not have her on here? It does the thing in the list of appearances instead of like most featured
order of appearance.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. Her name in real life is Idina. Her name in the movie is Dina. Dinah. And I'm like, they just used her name? And then I had to look up the credits. I'm like, oh, it's Idina Menzel, and it's Dina in the anyways.
Wow.
Thought that was kind of funny.
That is weird. Weird choice.
So I finally finished Red Dead Redemption 2 just earlier today. Earlier tonight before it. I'm glad I had kind of got frustrated. I'm like, this is never going to end. And I just jumped on tonight and realized like I was literally leading up to the final like showdown.
Yeah.
So I rolled credits and the credits are so long. I finally got sick of it and I just like skipped them because it shows like little things between them. So I wanted to see those little clips, but then I'm just like, forget this. Then it shows the end and then you come back to your farm and yeah. It's just a great game overall. I find it interesting. We talked about the spoiler thing. Anyways, I find it interesting that I've heard other people say that the storyline was like there was some crazy reveal or something. No. I didn't think there was any like big reveal or anything. I remember hearing on other podcasts, they're like, oh yeah, Red Redemption. Like, I don't want to spoil that for you, man. Like that's crazy. Like what? So like the whole time I've been playing this near the end, I'm like, oh, what's going to happen? I know some crazy thing. No. It ends basically how I kind of expected it to end, honestly.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like the drama builds up to it, so it's not like it's predictable. It's not like predictable, but it's like the moment it lasts.
You
like
feel
that
those
sort of
characters are heading in that direction.
Exactly. It's just where it organically goes. And there's no like, what, you were that guy or anything like that, or aliens don't show up or anything like that.
Oh, let's make them think that.
Oh, okay.
They don't show up. Really, they don't.
Well, I don't know. There's
Yeah,
some
you
Easter
never
eggs
know with
in that
Rockstar.
game.
They do seem to like to put aliens and everything.
Oh, they love their aliens.
Yeah.
And Bigfoot, of course.
Yeah. And the Lost Hatch in GTA 5 under the water.
Uh-huh.
That was a cool Easter egg.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. So, yeah, I'm just glad I finally finished it.
Question first. I don't remember if we were talking off the pod or on the pod about this, but you had a sense of that's it, really? Like, and where you left off before. Now that it's over, how do you kind of feel? You felt that it wrapped up in a satisfying way, or?
Yeah, I wasn't really happy with the way Arthur's story ended. I thought, I don't know, it just felt like he had so much more to give, but you got to tell your story in some way, so that's how they chose to end it. So
yeah,
probably not how I would have preferred it would have been scripted, but it was fine. I also don't quite understand how that leads into Red Dead Redemption, because this is supposed to be a prequel story, right? And then it leads into the first Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah,
that was my understanding.
I personally
don't really see how those two connect.
I haven't played Red Dead Redemption in extremely long time, so I don't even remember how it starts, to be honest with you. I don't think it, from what I remember, it doesn't lead right into it. It seems like John and his son are much older by the time we pick up Red Dead Redemption, from my recollection at least.
I don't remember his son being in the first one.
Yeah, he's there.
Hmm.
He's a young man, I think, and not a young boy.
I don't remember that. I remember John was like hurt, like there was some attack or something. That's when the lady found her and she helped him come back to the ranch, and he ended up working there. And there was another gang in the that army base. He had a beef with that guy.
Okay. I'll have to play that game one day, but something tells me it's going to be harder and harder to go back to as time goes forward, you know?
Yeah, it still looks surprisingly good. I was playing it before this one came out. Yeah, that's just a well-designed game, especially for how old it is. Crazy.
Yeah. Maybe one day, because I didn't make me want to play it, honestly, but I don't know. Okay, so yeah, I mean, leading up to Halloween, we just watched a ton of Halloween-based movies. I'm going to go through them very quickly, because some of them are just the normal fare that I watch every year. Lost Boys, watch it every year. It's one of my favorite Halloween movies. It's a lot of fun. What We Do in the Shadows, watch that. At this point, it's like a new classic for me and Amber. Watched Casper. I watched that off the back of watching a. Have you ever watched those YouTube guys who do here are visual effects artists reacting to one of those.
There's so many.
There's so many. So they did one on like family Halloween movies. So they did one for like Nightmare on Elm Street and Casper, and they were talking about how just revolutionary the visual effects for Casper were at the time. It's very fascinating, and it's crazy, and it was fun watching the movie with that appreciation, because they put a lot of effort into Casper, a lot of money, golly. Watched a movie that was like a cult classic that I've never really heard of, but I thought I'd check out, called Sleepaway Camp. It's exactly what it sounds like. There's a camp of kids, and there's a killer on the loose, and you have to figure out who did it. I mean, it's like a whodunit kind of deal, sort of. It's kind of generic, honestly, except for the ending. Like, honestly, it's like the whole movie I didn't find scary at all. It wasn't really especially like surprising or gory or anything, but like everything was so basic except for the end. Like, literally the last minute of the movie was so disturbing and crazy. It's weird. After everything was like so cheap and kind of like to a point where it's like, okay, I guess they can't afford the special effects, so they just kind of show, when they show the person getting stabbed, and then you see the person's face, it cuts to the person's face going, you know what I mean? But they don't really show it, which is fine. But then the end is so jacked up. I was like, oh my God.
Little Quentin Tarantino style.
I suppose everything just goes to pot at the end there. But anyways, but the main ones I wanted to talk about here is, me and Amber, she's never seen any of the Evil Dead movies. We watched those. I haven't seen them in a long time. But I've
never seen them.
Okay, so those movies are fascinating. I say that in the way to say the first movie, made in like the late 70s or whatever, it's a horror movie. It's really goofy. It's kind of like really, because it's old, and it's Sam Raimi. Sam Raimi, it's like he's, I don't know, he's kind of has a goofy way about him. But it's a horror. They were trying to make a scary movie there. And so it's kind of like a classic in that sense, of the fact that it's entertaining. I don't know, but there's a lot of gore and special effects and all that stuff. And then we have Evil Dead 2, which, this is where the character Ash gets his chainsaw arm, and he turns into a different character. It's strange when Evil Dead 2 starts. It picks up right where the first one left off, but all of a sudden he turns into the, one-liner spitting kind of character that we come to know him as now. Whereas the first one is just a guy who's trying his best. And then in the second one, he's saying things like groovy and, stuff like that, where he turns into this character. And that movie is more of a dark slapstick comedy is what I would say.
That's the impression I've gotten from the outside.
Yeah, but it still has horror elements, you know. And then you have the third one called Army of Darkness. It's a straight up comedy. There is no if, ands, or buts about it.
Isn't that the one everybody loves so much?
Everyone does love it. I love it. It's actually my favorite. He's more one-liners than ever. That's where you get the, hey, you primordial pinheads, this is my boomstick. That's where you get lines like that, and give me some sugar, baby. And
hey, so it really evolved movie to movie.
Oh yeah, and this is what it turned into, and it's a lot of fun. It's where he transports through whatever means. He goes back into like the Dark Ages, and so yeah, it's that. Yeah. It's just so weird to see the progression of the movie go in that. I've never seen it escalate that much. Like there's a lot of horror movies where like they'll become more comedic. That's just a thing that happens all the time. All the freaking time. Scream becomes more comedic. Nightmare on Elm Street becomes more comedic. God knows Child's Play comes more comedic to the point where, Seed of Chucky is a comedy.
Yeah.
But it's
a staple of a lot of those.
I've never seen it happen
let's in get this sillier.
Way. Yeah, let's get sillier. More jokes, more one-liners. It's just always happens. It happens with Friday the 13th. It's just, but I've never seen it happen in this way over the course of 3 movies.
Yeah. And it seems like it goes even more maybe than those other
movies.
Oh,
yeah. It's oh yeah. Like it's not like there's almost nothing scary about Army of Darkness. It is just comedy. It is 100%.
What's amazing comedy. Is that they kind of found their footing with it.
Yeah.
Whereas like so many of these other movies we're naming, I feel like they just get worse and stupider and stupider. Like the what was the series we were talking about, In the Hood? The
Leprechaun.
The Leprechaun. I mean, it just gets stupid.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, that kind of sounded like it started stupid, ended even stupider. But
yes.
But it's like that. It's like it just gets worse. And this, I haven't seen it, but it's just, I always hear of Army of Darkness when I hear of the whole series. So it's like it just seems like it's amazing that they evolved in a good way, whereas pretty much everything else evolves in a bad way.
I think a lot of people try to do
the third one was the stupidest piece of crap.
Yeah.
That's what people usually say.
I think maybe he knew each one we're going to have to do something very different. And maybe that's what he was trying to do.
Different is telling more jokes.
Yeah, I suppose instead of being like, we'll still be scary and maybe we'll have a little bit more jokes. No, you're going to be like, okay, by this point we're going to have a romp.
Yeah.
The main movie, like the last Halloween movie I'm probably going to talk about for a while is the Blair Witch Project. Okay, so this movie, I'm a fan of this movie. I don't know. The other Blair Witch movies are but this movie is so unique. It's hard to even, I don't think there's any movies like that. It spawned a million different found footage movies, but still, I don't think anything is like the Blair Witch Project. The way so it looks like crap, for one. It looks like absolute garbage. Like the cameras that they say they're filming on are the ones they are filming on. A DAT camera, 16 millimeter, and an old video camera. Mm-hmm. It's like you get the Blu-ray, it doesn't matter. It's still in standard definition. It really doesn't matter.
It looks terrible.
No matter what you do. You get 4K, which I don't think exists. Nope, still the same movie. So
did they actually use handy cams? Like cameras? So there's no way to have a 4K version.
No way. Absolutely not. It would just be a transfer of the standard definition movie on a 4K disc. You'll be paying $25 for the same thing, which I don't think it exists. Probably rightfully so. Like you either get this
that was right at the beginning of the DVD age, I think.
Yeah, it was approaching it. This movie came out in 1999.
Oh wow, I didn't realize it'd been that long.
Yeah, and it's based.
I thought it was early 2000s. Wow.
And they're using even older tech because the whole gimmick was these footage was found by kids who went out in the woods in 1996. So it's representative.
The ultimate pay attention to us kind of trope.
Oh yeah, and that hit off.
We found something.
That was it. A lot of people. No one would do this now, but a lot of people.
It's like viral advertising, like is now.
But there were people who believed that they didn't know. They weren't in on it. They didn't know. They didn't go on IMDb and see, and they didn't see Heather Donahue show up on Conan or anything like that. They just saw the advertisement and were like, oh, and the internet was
a documentary.
New. Yeah. Internet was new. And even if you went onto the website, it still is trying to have you believe that this happened. And the way they get what they get out of the actors in this movie is so fascinating. Like these people are not actors, which I think adds to the value of it. These are average looking people, average acting looking people, and it makes it feel real. And the fact that it's not scripted. This movie isn't scripted at all. And they just kind of have notes, and the directors like almost prank them along the way and kind of like nudge them in the direction they want to go, and like will plant things, and it just comes off so genuine, and that it's creepy. The movie's creepy. It's not scary. It's creepy. There's not a jump scare in the movie. There's not a single on-screen death in the entire movie. It's just creepy because of what
gives you
they
that
said.
Tension.
Yeah, and like you'll think of things, you'll just be like, "Ooh, that's creepy." You know, it just really puts you there. It might be I'm wondering how it would be if someone saw it now. A younger person saw it now who didn't grow up in that.
Didn't know anything about it. Just watched it.
Yeah, because you look at that footage and you're like, "Yeah, I remember this time." It's like one of the most 90s movies to me for that reason, where you look at it and you're like, 90s. It screams 90s from the style, from the way people are acting, from just the footage. Just looking at the footage, like 90s, you know? And so it's, I don't know. This is a unique movie that can never be replicated. They made 2 sequels, sort of. One was like the second one, which filmed like a regular old movie. It wasn't found footage, and it was terrible. It was just an awful movie that barely had anything to do with the first movie. And then the third one was supposed to be the real sequel. It like came out recently, right? And it was found footage, but the problem was everything I talked to you about, gone. It feels very scripted. Everyone's beautiful. And it's filmed well with a nice 4K camera. It's filmed well. Like the shots
but it's still found footage style.
It's still found footage style, but like you can tell, like with these Blair, the first
cinematographer is the one who was filming this found footage.
This first Blair Witch movie,
and he had a gimbal.
There were no producers or directors with them. It was just those 3 actors sent out into the woods, and they're the people who are filming the movie. But with Blair Witch, like the recent one, you can tell these are not the people filming this crap.
The camera that happened to be filming on when this found footage was filmed was a red on a gimbal. Carried around by a grip.
Exactly. You get the sense of that sometimes, and there's something, and the phoniness of it takes away from the creepiness. And so it's just kind of nothing. But yeah, it's an interesting movie. I'll say that. It's probably, even though
hard to duplicate things like that.
I don't think you ever could, and I don't think you should really try, because it's a movie of its time that spawned a million found footage things, but still there's been nothing like the Blair Witch Project.
It won't stop them from trying, Jordan.
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's so cheap. It was like the cheapest thing of all time. I believe like they were worried about like one of the actors dropping the DAT camera into the creek, and if that happened, it's over. It is over. We're not making a movie anymore. And so it's
crazy. What a shoestring budget
for such a return. One of the most profitable movies of all time. Lastly, real quick, I know I spent a lot of time on that one. I've been playing, again, I find it hard to go on the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox, kind of waiting. So I've been playing a lot of Switch, and so the new DLC for Pokemon Sword and Shield came out. I've been playing that, and I've been having a lot of fun. It's it's a little bit more open-ended than the main game, and there's a lot of mysteries to it, and I've just enjoyed it. I don't have a lot to say. It's just more Pokemon, but they're kind of diving into kind of being like, okay, like the main game is very much go there, now go there, now go there, now go there. But this one's a lot more open-ended, where it'd be like, okay, here's a bunch of things you can do. Kind of figure it out. It's not like insanely cryptic or anything, but for Pokemon it kind of is. So I'm having fun with it. I'm trying to like kind of parse it out over this week so I can I don't know, so it'll be like the thing that I play until next gen comes. speaking of which, let's go into our topics. I mean, we'll start off with our next gen hype time, next gen countdown. Talk about
next gen time.
Oh yeah.
Let's get it on.
As you like to say, we are still on the precipice of Destiny. Yep. We are
still falling.
We're still falling. We're at that point where you see the ground and you hold your breath right before you hit.
Here it comes. Hold your breath.
I mean, would you?
This might save me.
I mean, okay, imagining what you would, I always talk about this, strangely enough, imagining what you would do if you were falling an insane amount and you were like, here it is, moments before going pow into the earth. What do you do? I'd hold your breath.
Maybe try to turn so you don't have to see it. Rather look up at the sky.
But then it would be scary because it's a surprise when it hits you. You're like, oh!
I think it's a surprise no matter what. Infinite pain, I'm dead.
Is that how it is? It's
everything hurts, I'm dead.
It's a millisecond of infinite pain before death becomes you.
The worst thing ever, I'm dead.
Anyways,
things we talk about.
The mind reels of thinking of things that you would hopefully never experience.
Terrible thought.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Do you stick your hands out real quick before to try to?
No, that'd be powers way worse. I don't know about.
No, because that infinite pain would last longer because you'd see your arms.
Oh my God.
Before your face.
I don't think you could. I mean, you're moving at like, I think terminal velocity for a human body is over like 200 miles an hour. Ooh. Okay.
You just do one of those imprints like Wile E. Coyote, how it's just an imprint of your body.
But then they stand you up and pump you up with a
yeah
compressor.
Next gen consoles.
Yeah.
Not too much to talk about, honestly. Like last week we said like, oh, there's gonna be PlayStation 5 stuff, but it's been the same deal for like over a week at this point. I guess their embargo is like, here's the thing you can show, and then there's like a week where you just can't show anything. Must be really frustrating for creators.
So I have the confirmed and there's some rumored list from IGN for Xbox Series X games. So for launch titles. I can go through those.
Yeah, absolutely.
If we want to. So there's obviously a lot of games on here that I'm not going to talk about that are just 2021 to be announced. Yeah. They're not really set in stone. Like some of these even have 2020, but there's not a date. So I'm just going to go through the ones that definitely are launch games or they're soon thereafter. So this is listed alphabetically. So Assassin's Creed, obviously, is like the first one alphabetically. So that's going to be a launch game. So we'll get that day one.
Are you getting 3, that day one?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think that's one of those ones. If good enough reviews come out, you might buy it.
Okay.
You know if it's going to be $70 or if it's a $60 game?
I don't.
I do know it has smart delivery according to the list, so that is a beautiful thing.
That is very nice.
Valhalla. I would think that means it would be 60 because that means that they would have to have 2 price things, or they just have to have Valhalla be 70 overall. Because why would you buy, if you can get smart delivery, why would you buy the $70 next gen version?
This is a $60 game.
Yeah, that's what I was guessing. So good. Thank you, Ubisoft.
Yes.
Holding that price line for us. So yeah, Borderlands 3, which is kind of an older game at this point, but it'll be a smart delivery game. So it'll be there on launch day.
Optimized.
So the game that I guess Bright Memory Infinite, which we had talked about before, we got a teaser trailer for during the Xbox event. Bright Memory 1.0 will be available at launch game. So I don't know what that's like. Guessing it's like Bright Memory Infinite, just probably not as awesome.
Okay, I
But
don't know much
that'll
about
be
that one.
interesting. So we can at least kind of like ease our way into Bright Memory Infinite, which looks like a really cool game. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War will be out November 13th. So it's not a launch day, but it might as well be.
You've already pre-ordered that one, right?
Yeah, I have. Let's see. Cuisine Royale will be a launch game.
Excellent.
Which is a game that I've played. I have played a decent amount, and it's actually a pretty good game. You know, if you're into battle royale games, it's. I think I talked about this on the podcast before, but it's a goofy take on battle royale where like you eat like a turkey dinner as your like health thing, and then there's like a ham is like a smaller health thing, and you have like a side dish as a smaller health thing, and yeah, there's like refrigerators are like the packs that you open, and like all the gear pops out of them, and yeah, I will say the thing that I was amazed at, I spent all this time playing Player Unknown's Battlegrounds, and you know, I had some buddies. I had, you know, my friends, and then I had friends of those friends, and we had like this group of like 6 of us that would play PUBG for a while. So we really enjoyed that game, but man, the glitches were just infuriating. The buildings wouldn't load. You'd get stuck in a building. Oh, you would be driving along on a car, and a rock would all of a sudden appear and crash and blow up, and everyone would die, and the game would be over. It's like, But Cuisine Royale, for as like cheap and small, I think it's a free to play game too. As cheap and like and silly as the game is, it works perfect. The buildings all load in like immediately. Yeah, it's just.
I'm blown away how after
I wish we'd been
time,
playing this the whole time.
How all this time PUBG has been so poorly optimized somehow.
I know.
It blows my mind.
It was such a cool idea, and it was such a cool game that was very poorly executed.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's frustrating. We'll talk about this some more. Cyberpunk was going to be basically a launch game.
Yep.
Delayed till December 10th. We'll talk about that later. But it'll have smart delivery as well. Crossfire X, which still doesn't have a date. Xbox has been talking about this game for a while. I guess this is like a new gen version of the old game Crossfire that I guess was big on PC. I never played it, but
the 90s board game with the Merle marble, right?
Yeah. Exactly. You get those little silver marbles and you shoot them at each other.
Yeah, in a post-apocalyptic world, according to the commercial.
So that will have smart delivery as well.
Okay.
So that's still TBA on 2020. So we'll see. Dead by Daylight will be a launch game. So yeah, it's a good game. It's a little too scary for me.
Yeah, I've never played it.
It's a good game. I believe it's on Game Pass.
Yep.
I want to say that one's on Game Pass, yeah. Destiny 2, which they had a big thing at the Xbox event about that, will be a launch day, and it will be smart delivery as well. It's really cool. Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition launch game as well. Is that the one that's on Game Pass, Jordan? I know there's one Devil May Cry on Game Pass.
I know it was at a certain point. I don't know if it still is or isn't. I'm not sure, but I do not believe that the special edition will, like, I don't think the regular Devil May Cry 5 and the special edition are one and the same at this point. I don't think so, at least.
Wait, what are you saying? You're saying are they two different games?
I'm pretty sure they're two different SKUs.
Well, I was just saying, is Devil May Cry 5, is that on Game Pass? Do you know?
I know it was. I don't know if it still is.
Yeah. But so what's different about the special edition?
There's a lot of added content, and
yeah,
you know, and obviously, and they are like optimizing it for the new consoles with ray tracing and faster, you know, but more frames per second, and you know, obviously higher resolutions and all that stuff. But yeah, they're optimizing the thing, and they're adding a lot of new modes, and there's a new character you can play as in Virgil. But yeah,
says it left in mid-August of this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
No longer.
Dirt 5 is a smart delivery game as well. Launch game.
Yep.
Talked about that. That's weird.
What?
It says Doom Eternal, and it says the release date is 2021. The game's definitely already out. It's in Game Pass. I don't know why it says that.
I mean, there's more DLC to come. Does it mean that? I know one DLC just dropped, but I know there's like a second part to it that's coming. But it might be might be what they're referencing.
So maybe that's not going to be available on Series X at launch, like specifically not on the Series X.
I haven't heard
That's
anything
surprising.
about optimization.
A game that's on Game Pass, not available on Series X. I'm surprised.
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about optimization yet from that, but I'm sure it's coming, especially since I'd imagine that Microsoft would want Bethesda to be like, look, you can get Doom Eternal on PlayStation 5 and play the backwards compatible version, but the next gen version is going to be exclusive to Microsoft. I'd imagine them wanting to do that. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I don't know.
I don't understand. It's on Xbox One now. I'm playing it right now.
Yeah.
It surprised me. It has even before they bought Bethesda, it has smart delivery. Like, I don't get what's holding it back. Maybe this list is not being clear, or maybe that's a typo or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't quite follow there. Anyways, Enlisted, don't know that game.
Never heard of it.
It's a launch game. Evergate, don't know that game as well, but it is a launch game. Fortnite will be there at launch. For Honor, launch game. Forza Horizon 4.
Mm-hmm. All these games are being optimized.
Gears 5, Gears Tactics, all launch games.
Mm-hmm.
Grounded, still in early access, launch game. Pretty much all these games I've just listed are all smart delivery except Fortnite and For Honor.
Yeah, but they will as well just be free downloads that are optimized for the next gen consoles. I believe it launched for both Fortnite and For Honor, from what I've heard. So you can expect to get you get the consoles, you can expect to download.
Yeah, I mean I don't know if For Honor's free to play yet. It feels like it's headed that way.
Yeah, so. It really does.
Yeah.
To give it away a lot.
A lot of games are going that way.
Yeah.
The Halo the Master Chief Collection will not be available till November 17th.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Interesting. So just a week away once it's released.
That's exciting though. Seeing all those games be optimized for the next gen. That's gonna be cool.
I wonder if it's just optimization. It just seems to me like, why wouldn't you just allow it to be on there, and once the optimization comes, just send an update over. You update your game.
Well, I believe that's the case. I believe you can play it through backwards compatibility, but the Xbox Series S and X versions are coming later. From what I understand.
The reviewer for IGN was saying they would not play.
Interesting.
He was saying there was only a few games that would actually play on the console.
I wonder if that's because
come up and they just like have an error message, just like they won't play.
I wonder if that's like because they're playing like preview versions, or if there's gonna be a patch to be like, hey, here's everything, because they've been really in your face saying yes, every game minus like a few Kinect games will be backwards compatibility at launch, which is good news.
Yeah, I mean that's what I would assume too. Just the list is strange about that.
Yeah.
Haven, it says, will be a launch window game, so there's not a set date on that one. Immortals Phoenix Rising will be December 3rd.
Yep.
So not too long after.
Yeah, it looks all right.
Just Dance 2021.
Oh yeah.
Launch game.
Keep on dancing, baby.
King Oddball, don't know that game. Will be a launch game.
I've never heard of that.
Surprise, Madden NFL will not be out. They don't even have a date on that yet. Interesting. Man Eater, launch game. Manifold Garden, launch game. Smart delivery is also going to be on Madden. That's interesting. EA and Microsoft seem to be playing pretty nice together.
That's good.
EA plays all coming to Game Pass, so that'll be nice. NBA 2K21 launch game. No Man's Sky, smart delivery and launch game. Exciting.
So excited about that. I forgot to talk about the No Man's Sky and 4K 60.
Smart delivery, man. Thank God.
So great. I'm so happy about that at launch. That's awesome. I'm so happy about that.
Ori the Will of the Wisp will be smart delivery, launch day. Observer, don't know that game, will be a launch game. Planet Coaster, don't know that game, be a launch game. Mm-hmm. Oh man, it seems like Psychonauts has been coming for so long.
I know. They've been talking about Psychonauts 2 for so long. I know.
Yeah. What was it, PlayStation that Sony that bought Double Fine? Or no, it was Microsoft, wasn't it?
Yeah,
that's right. Rainbow Six Siege will be smart delivery, hallelujah, and a launch game.
Very good.
Yeah. It seems like Ubisoft is pretty good about that.
Yeah.
They're saying Rainbow Six Quarantine 2020 to 2021. So I guess they're thinking it could be here at the end of the year.
I believe they just announced recently that it is going to be delayed into next year with quarantine.
I'm ready for that. I was just playing some more Siege. Like I think I said last week, the Siege came to Game Pass just like a week or two ago, and I already owned it. But the amazing thing is it came into Game Pass with the deluxe edition, which included a bunch of operators, which would have cost me like $70-$80 if I had bought all of them. Mm-hmm. So that was a really cool thing. They're actually having a cool Halloween event right now. Fright Fight.
Fright Fight.
It's cool. So yeah, really enjoying Siege, and yeah, I'm excited for Quarantine. I'd like to know more about what it is. I should look up videos and stuff. I don't feel like I understand exactly what I'm going to be doing in quarantine, but like I said, any Tom Clancy property, I'm always excited to get into it.
Yeah.
Sea of Thieves, unsurprisingly, will be smart delivery and a launch game. Tetris Effect Connected, they kind of talked about that at the event. Smart delivery and launch. Tell Me Why will be a launch window game. The Ascent, which I remember was one of the ones in the reel of trailers that they showed, will be a launch window game. Yep. I wish these launch window games would just give us a date. If it's launch window, are we talking February or are we talking early December? I'm not quite sure on that. But the Falconer will be a launch game, mm-hmm. Smart delivery as well. The Tourist, don't know that game.
I know that game.
A launch game.
That game, there's been a lot of talk about it, saying that it's going to be one of the first games that's like above 4K, because that game is just apparently just so well made. It's going to be like 60 frames. It's like 6K or something like that, which I don't know who's going to enjoy that, but that's crazy that they're able to do that already.
Yeah, I'm trying to look it up. I wanted to see some. So it's on Switch. That's where you've been playing it?
I haven't played it yet. I've been kind of peeking and, window shopping. It looks cool. It looks cool. It's not like
why
the
are they
game.
Making it in 5K or 6K or whatever?
That's just I guess that's just how they made it.
Because we can.
Because we can. They don't seem to have done much to it. It seems to have made the game. We're going to make it in the highest quality we can, and we'll scale it up to whatever we can scale it up on, which is interesting. Yeah.
War Thunder will be a launch game, smart delivery as well. Warhammer Chaos Bane Slayer Edition will be a launch game. Watch Dogs Legion.
Yep.
Be a launch game, smart delivery. When was that released?
Last week. It was like into last week. Yeah, I think Friday was the release.
That seems like that game's been coming for a long time.
I know.
Remember the trailer forever ago.
Yeah.
And the last two, Yakuza Like a Dragon. That'll probably be Jordan's game to play on the Xbox to start.
Yeah.
We'll have smart delivery as well. Launch game. And Yes, Your Grace. Don't know that game.
Never heard of that. Wow.
Be a launch game and have smart delivery. And there's a bunch of other games that had smart delivery, but they're not yet. Like The Witcher 3 will have smart delivery, and it just says 2020. So, yeah. The Gunk, Elder Scrolls Online. Yeah, it's interesting, some of these games. I'm a little disappointed that they're not ready yet. Like The Medium, that was another one that they had pushed quite a bit. They're saying December now. I think it's a little disappointing that they're not able to get these out in time for the launch. The Outer Worlds is another one that you would think it would have been ready to go.
Weird.
Because that game's been out for a while, but it just says TBA 2020. Also not smart delivery, yeah.
Hmm.
A little strange with that, but
Yeah, I think it
being
might
that I have
come.
Game
It'll
Chaos, I
come.
don't think it'll be a big deal for me
Yeah,
personally.
I'm pretty sure it'll come eventually. It's because
Yeah, I'm
they're gonna
sure all
want
these will come. I'm a little disappointed more of them aren't ready to go. Like Scorn,
to.
another one that
Yeah,
they kind of pushed. Hellblade 2, that would have been cool if that one was ready.
it's probably a while off for that one too.
Yeah.
Couple cool things I thought I'd bring up that was kind of revealed for on the PlayStation side of things. They did announce that a couple games will be uh, sorry, PlayStation Plus games, which is cool. So Bug Snacks is a game that a lot of people are having fun with apparently that are previewing it. It's kind of a quirky game.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing really about it. Screams next gen, but it is a launch game and it will be free at launch for PlayStation Plus subscribers, which is cool.
Mm-hmm.
That to be like, okay, great, PlayStation 5 game straight out the bat. We download it. That's fun. I'm glad. Also, a game that was gonna be sold for $70, what's gonna be at launch, and just kind of out of the blue, they announced, you know what? Destruction All Stars is being pushed back to February 2021, and it will be free for PlayStation Plus owners. And everyone who bought the game for $70, it was a $70 game, will be refunded. But very interesting, but kind of a cool move because that game is kind of a enigma. A lot of people are like, I don't know about it. I can't imagine the pre-orders were going very well for that one, so it may have been a good idea to push it out on.
Right.
Be like, okay, here, just kind of like do what they did with Fall Guys and Rocket League.
Yeah.
But yeah, and other than that, it's just a lot of impressions of the same stuff. A lot of people are playing Astrobot and talking about the controller. A lot of people are really enjoying the controller, saying, "Holy crap, it feels really cool," which is nice to hear because I think PlayStation hasn't really been. They've been kind of quiet about it. They've been like, "Here's what it can do." Okay, bye. They don't have like a lot of videos of people you can feel the or anything like that. They kind of stayed away from it. I think they've strategically put this out there to be like, no, here's a bunch of people who are gonna feel it and they're all gonna comment about it, and so that's cool. I mean, my question is, are how much are developers gonna use it? I'm sure Sony's gonna use it, which is great. I'm hearing a lot of these games like No Man's Sky and Fortnite will use some of its adaptive triggers for like the gun and everything, which is great. But there's some talk about Microsoft maybe using that technology as well or something similar. And honestly, I hope they do because that would mean more developers, more incentive for developers to actually invest in putting it in their games. So, yeah.
I just kind of would want to try it to like see because so many things in technology, it's like, I don't know, could go either way. It could be a gimmick, it could be really cool. You just kind of have to test it out.
Absolutely.
Like 3D TVs, it's like you see it and it's like, oh, that's cool, but probably not worth all that hubbub. So
yeah, I mean,
interesting to see if it adds to the gameplay.
absolutely. It's like like the game that everyone's playing is Astrobot is the one that everyone's playing, and that game is pretty much a demo for the DualSense, and so it's going to be interesting, and so it's used very heavily. So it's going to be interesting to see how it's used when I play Miles Morales, which it's being used in, but to what effect, we'll find out, I guess. But apparently there are options to turn it off if either it's annoying you for whatever reason or if like you have some accessibility issues or something like that. So that's good because apparently it fights you a little bit. There's like there a lot of people are using an example where in Astrobot there's a spring where it's like you press down on the trigger and it's like almost like that the resistance a spring would give, which is crazy. But I could see someone like a young kid maybe having trouble with that. I don't
know. Yeah.
But very very interesting stuff. But here we go, man. This is it. Come next episode, the Xbox Series X and S will be out. We won't have them, but we're a week away.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll have it, but yeah.
Yeah, we're both waiting on shipments, so we're probably not going to have ours
Yeah, it's so
until
frustrating.
yeah.
I still haven't gotten any emails or anything. I was hoping by now I would at least have like a concrete day when I can expect its arrival.
Yeah, I know. That is like it's frustrating, and I think there a lot of people have a lot of dread and kind of they're kind of nervous about their pre-orders, and I get it. I mean, especially because of how chaotic the process of pre-ordering the thing was. I'd be there's a reason to be nervous. Yeah, complete nightmare. And so yeah, I mean, we'll come. I'm pretty confident by the not this coming week, but the week after, we will both have our Xboxes and I'll have my PlayStation, and we'll be able to talk about it. But either way, a lot more is going to be known about these consoles by next week because they'll be out in the wild. So yeah, here it comes, man. This is the last time we're gonna really be on the hype train of it, of the release at least. I mean, we'll still be on the hype train for maybe a day or two longer of us actually getting
Yeah,
them.
I just hope I get it by the episode after that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so, yeah, now are we ready to talk about studios that are in trouble and maybe
yeah, maybe need a good spanking.
Yeah, there's a few stories about this. I don't know how much of it we'll talk about, but yeah, I guess we'll start with one most people are talking about right now with Cyberpunk 2077.
Yep. Those punks.
Yeah.
It came out yet again. What, this number 4?
Yeah, this is the fourth time.
4.
And they announced infamously at this point that the game went gold, saying it's done. Here it is. It's gone gold. They said it was gone gold, and now
they had actually announced before this.
Yeah, before this that it's gone gold, and now actually sorry, no, we're delaying it again. The reasons they cite are they're like, hey, sorry, during COVID, it's tough to test these games for the 9 platforms that we're releasing it on. I guess that's PC, Stadia, Xbox One, Xbox One X, Xbox Series S, Xbox Series X, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 4 Pro, PlayStation 5. Yeah, holy crap. It's a lot.
Yeah. I know, like, for me, I don't, I'm not a developer. I've written very limited code in my life, but I do have to say, like, from what I understand of developing for iOS, and I don't know how much of this crosses over into making games for consoles, especially when it's 2 separate companies that have consoles that you're making games for. But at least on iOS, when you create a app, at this point, you pretty much create one app and it can adaptively fit all the things from the Mac to the iPad to the phone to the watch. Like it pretty much adapts right to it. And obviously the apps are much better if they are developed with the iPad screen specifically in mind or the iPhone screen specifically in mind. But yeah, it's not that hard to adapt it. And yeah, I don't know. I'm very frustrated by this whole thing. They've had years, they've been working on this game for a really long time, and it's not like any of this came as a surprise to them. The only excuse I think that's valid is that coronavirus came around, their work environment changed, they were held at home. Sure, I can understand that. That certainly would push things back, but you have to plan your things out better. Like if you think it's going to take you 6 months, then maybe you should give yourself another 2 months and just say, okay, we're going to release this game in 8 months because I think our work time is 6 months and things happen. So let's give ourselves an extra 2 months or something. And at some point you just have to release the thing. Like, even if it's buggy, you just have to say, okay, we're going to update it, like stick with us. Because for the most part, I wouldn't say that people are going to abandon the game. They're not going to buy it. They're not going to download it just because there's issues with it. I mean, look at Fallout 4. Like, that game was a mess. It was a nightmare, and it sold great and it got reviewed really well. And I don't think there were any problems with it, really. Like critically, like, people were definitely saying like this thing's super buggy, but they still were fine with that. And honestly, I doubt CD Projekt Red would be willing to release anything as buggy as Fallout 4 was. And yeah, there's other games like Rainbow Six Siege, which people were not really that hot on when it launched, and it's become probably in the top 3, biggest like games as a service games that just like pumps out money for Ubisoft every month, every week. Um, so yeah, I think they're setting their sights on this like perfect thing that's never gonna happen. And it's just like, guys, like we just gotta tie a bow on it.
Yeah.
We gotta ship this thing because this is starting to piss people off. Because I know it's starting to piss me off because I was looking forward to it in April, and for it to be pushed to the summer and then the fall and then Christmas, it's like, come on, like
Yeah.
it's just stupid.
A lot of what I'm hearing is that they are having trouble with the current generation of consoles. Like getting them to work well on the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. I can see, like, you can kind of see some of this already. Like a lot of, from what I'm hearing about Watch Dogs Legion, is that they're looking at the PC port, being like, obviously they haven't played the next gen version yet, but they're playing the PC port and it's smooth sailing. But they're having some trouble on with some of these current generation consoles. There's been reports of the game
Yeah.
actually crashing the Xbox One series, Xbox One X, which is currently the most powerful home console you can have,
Yeah.
and it's having trouble. So I don't know what it is about maybe this next generation or moving forward. Maybe some of these games, playing them on the old machines, might kind of be a little bit less optimal way to play them.
I am surprised the One X and the PS4 Pro would have trouble. They seem like they're pretty beastly consoles. It seems like it would have been enough.
Yeah, I wonder if like they are kind of like have the tool set for next gen, and they're like, let's do it next gen. Here we go. Here's all these people, and then they're like, oh shoot, we have to tamper it down a little bit more than we thought for some of these older consoles to make
Why
it
don't you just
happen.
release it as a next gen game?
Honestly, that's what I would want.
Like say F it.
I know it's just
This is a PC,
yeah.
PS5, Xbox Series X game.
Yeah, that would be tragic too, because obviously there's all those millions of people who own Xbox Ones and PS4s who aren't, just flat out will not be able to have.
Yeah, but that was true of Call of Duty Ghost. Like the game wasn't available on Xbox 360. I had to buy an Xbox One and play that game. So that's just part of consoles for you.
Yeah, it's true. It is kind of how it goes. There's been a lot of versions of games that were supposed to be released for last gen and never happened. Mortal Kombat X was a game that was supposed to be cross gen, but it ended up not being in the cards, and it was the previous gen release was canceled.
Yeah.
That it's something that it's hilarious and also tragic is that, like, there's been a special edition Cyberpunk Xbox One X that's been out for a while now. And it's just there, and that's been here way longer than than the game is going to be. Yeah, that's strange. That's so strange. That's a console that at the time that this game released, Microsoft will no longer sell the series, the Xbox One X brand. And so it's wild that this sort of thing happens when a game is pushed back so much. But yeah, I'm with you. Obviously, I mean, we're getting next generation hardware, and so yeah, we definitely want the game to be run as well as possible and to come out as soon as it can. So yeah, I'd be personally happy for it just coming out on 5s and Xbox Ones. It'll definitely do even more to drive sales.
I just don't understand how there's not, just like there is on PC, where you can just degrade the thing.
Yeah.
Just like, okay, well, because this doesn't play very well, we're going to have you playing at 720, or 540p or something.
Oh my God. Can you imagine?
Just because you have an old console, like, you can play it. We'll let you play it, but it's going to look terrible. So
yeah,
guess what? You need to upgrade your console. Like, I bought my Xbox so freaking long ago.
Yep.
Like,
you got the day one edition
so
right now.
ago.
You have got the day one.
Yeah, and like, I understand if my Xbox stopped working, it'd be like, okay,
It's about
it's
time.
fine. It's like, even if I didn't have this new console on the way, it would still be like, I've had my fun. Like,
Hmm.
it's about time I pay the piper because I've gotten so many years out of this thing. And I would totally understand if I had a console. Like, I have a MacBook from 2008. That's not the one I'm using on now, but it's like that thing basically just stopped working. At a certain point, it just told me, like, Luke,
Yeah.
I've given you my last breath. Like, I can't do anymore.
Yep.
I was like, I understand that. So I went and bought a new MacBook. So, at a certain point, computers, it's fine. It's a computer. They're all computers. They get old. It's amazing, honestly, how long these consoles last as it is for how much they're asked to do and how hot it gets in there. Just yeah. I'm sorry. I remember these console generations where we would get these games and we would be super excited. We'd be dying to play these consoles because of these new games, and there's none of that anymore.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that people who don't have the new console can play it. I do though. I love that. I've talked about that before. I think that's awesome. But at a certain point, I can understand how some games they can't do it. And I think that's the best way. It's like, if you can make it work on everything, make it work. If you can't, then okay. You need a new console to play this game. We're so sorry. We tried to make it work. It won't work. Just say something like that and just say, look, you need a new console. Period.
And also, I imagine that CD Projekt Red does want that PS4 and Xbox One money from those people as well, to be like, that's a lot of money that we'd have
Sure.
to not get. But
I
yeah, I
still
mean,
think it would sell well because if you make a great game, it's just like, so many other games that have come in the past
mhm.
that have been like, this is a next gen game. You have to buy the new console. And yeah, it's just like, okay, well, it's worth it because this
Yeah,
game is amazing.
I
Yeah,
think we
I
are
was
gonna
trying to think
find.
of a game in my mind that was like that. I'm not thinking of one right now. Halo was a good example. Halo was the reason you bought Xbox.
Yeah.
And I literally bought an Xbox because I'm like, I have to play this.
Hmm.
So good. And it was worth every penny.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
I'm, doing the crystal ball thing here. I'm curious as to how this is going to go, because I foresee there being a scarcity of these consoles that are unprecedented. And I'm also seeing like this whole cross-gen thing, not I'm foreseeing them having trouble with it just because of how different these systems are, as far as what like they prioritize, as far as what's inside of them. I can foresee like them having trouble with games like I don't know, maybe I could be wrong, and Valhalla looks amazing on Xbox One and PlayStation 4. I could be completely wrong about it, but if that's not the case, the incentive for players to move on and be like, well, I need a new console now, is going to be greater, and then the
Yeah.
scarcity will be even worse. And it's going to be a while if you don't have a pre-order right now, and you don't get just obscenely lucky. I foresee it's going to be a while before you're able to get an Xbox Series S or X or a PlayStation 5, because it's crazy. Like, Xbox hasn't yet released its numbers yet, but for what the team at PlayStation said is that they've sold as many PlayStation 5s in 12 hours as they did PlayStation 4s in 12 days. That's
Hmm.
crazy. And like, production is gone down, not up, during this
Gaming's just
stuff.
changed so much since the last console generation. That's really what it
Yes.
is. It's gone so much more mainstream than we ever would have dreamed it would have been in 2013 when we were buying our Xbox Ones, PlayStation 4s. So yeah, it's coming out to a different world, and
Mm-hmm.
a world where a lot of people are quarantining and enjoying games even more
Exactly.
than they were before. So
That would, yeah, the whole like gaming has changed. That would have been true in 2019. It still is, but it's even, yeah, as you said, even more so because of
yeah, and I
quarantine.
bet and I bet people during like the height of the quarantine even like discovered gaming
Yeah.
maybe for the first time, and they were like, I thought games were cool, or maybe I didn't think they were cool, but I tried it and kind of awesome, or they started watching some Twitch, or they started watching some YouTube gaming or something. Um, Yeah, and they're like, "Wow, I kinda like this thing. I kinda like
Yeah.
Fortnite," or I kinda like, I don't know, whatever, Halo 5.
And as I think you said this before on a previous podcast, it's another way during this time for kids to remain social and actually
Yeah,
like play together. And so I can
yeah,
imagine parents, there's a much more higher value proposition to buy these things for their kids so they can stay engaged and,
yeah.
not run
The
out of
way I
crap to
stay
do.
social.
Yeah, right.
I get to hang out with my friends, every couple nights. It's great.
Yeah.
Great thing.
But I hope they figure this stuff out, and I hope it doesn't get delayed again. I think it could happen. I think it could be delayed into 2021 because it's not, if it's delayed from this, it's not coming out this year. It's coming out in 2021. Hope that doesn't
Yeah.
happen because holy crap, yeah, this is probably one of the most anticipated games right now, and yeah,
Yeah. I think it's time. Yeah, you're starting to shoot yourself in the foot. Yeah, and you can only post so many letters on Twitter before people just start calling BS. It's
yeah,
like these are just excuses. Proper management of development of a movie, of a game, of a TV show. You have deadlines, and you have to meet them. And if you don't meet them, maybe you get one forgiveness, but after that, it's just sorry. You're gonna have to pay the piper. Like people aren't gonna watch your thing. They're not gonna play your thing. They're gonna get irritated.
yep.
I know I'm starting to get irritated.
Yeah, and that I think that's justified. I mean, I think like there, yeah, as you said, there's a point where it's like, okay, times are tough, but then there's a point where people are starting to see, okay, maybe there's some bad management that's going on here, and once it keeps happening, once they say something and then another thing happens. So I don't know, but there's more bad news.
Hit me with it.
So okay, Halo Infinite director has Chris Lee has stepped down from production. Um, there's a lot less known. There's a little bit less forward facing even than what's going on with Cyberpunk. But they're trying to get this game finished. They're trying to do this, and having your director step down, that's not comforting for me to hear that
Yeah.
this late in production the director steps down. Um, I don't know. It's hard not to be a little pessimistic about it at this point for me personally, just to see that like what is happening. I'm fascinated as well. I want this game more, but I am also fascinated that as to what is going on. What is going on behind the scenes here? Like, what did they like have some weird restart halfway through production as to what this game was gonna be? I don't know. I have no idea what the problem is. But I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, just like throw your hands up in the
No.
air. Just I don't know.
I know there was like some talk about they had hired somebody else to like come in. So I don't know if this is the guy who stepped down. Wow. Yeah, he's the director and studio head. Oh man.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just definitely screams of office drama. Like there's obviously some people working together that shouldn't be working together. Some kind of hostile work environment. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of that would cause this much drama. I think in another podcast I had heard there was some talk of just doubt starting to creep in about 343 being the best place for this game.
Hmm.
Maybe that a new studio should be given the franchise, which is really scary
Yeah, of
because
course.
I mean they've made some good games, they've done some good things with it, but yeah, I mean what's happening here with Infinite, just like the disappointing graphical style that we saw in the trailer, which I thought looked fine. It could have been better, but I figured with some updates, maybe, it could be improved. I mean, we were just talking about PUBG. I mean, that game's made so much money and a lot of people have enjoyed it. I played it for literally a couple years and had a lot of fun with it. And it was the most janky, broken piece of
Yeah,
junk.
yeah.
ever, but it had a cool concept and it had good replayability, and that was enough to keep it around. And I can only imagine like Halo Infinite. I can see maybe the story might be a problem. These kind of things always can hurt, like, the campaign mode. I could see that not being great, especially since Halo 5 apparently, not that I finished it, but apparently did not have a great story. But, they created a great solid Halo 5 multiplayer, and I don't know, it seems like there's a lot of good things about Halo Infinite. I just wonder, how bad is it, guys? Like,
I know I
you were
know.
so close to releasing your game. How bad could it really be?
And I can only imagine the wringing of hands and the gnashing of teeth that is going on at Microsoft. No, I'm sure nobody wants this game to be out more than them. Like I
Yeah.
feel so bad. It's like the
More than
Xbox Series
343, more
X.
than everybody involved is probably like, "Come
Yeah,
on,
this thing was
gotta get
on
it
the
out."
box of the Xbox Series X. That's what's there. That this game was supposed to be here at launch. It was the big game. I'm sure they're furious over what's going on, and they're like, I'm sure
Yeah.
they're just super upset. And yeah,
And it's been 5 years since Halo 5, so they've had plenty of time.
yeah, I don't know what's going on. I hope, again, like as you were saying, yeah, as long it doesn't have to look like the best looking game of all time. It really doesn't. As long as it looks not, it's decent to look at and the gameplay stimulating, and it's fine. But what's going on? I don't know.
You know what's amazing is Halo 4 came out in 2012. Halo 5 came out in 2015. So that was a
Holy
3-year
crap!
development cycle. And now we're at 5, and it's about to be pushed into the 6th year.
Yeah,
So that's another one, kinda like Cyberpunk, like, "Guys, you're running out of excuses. What are you doing?
yeah, yeah.
This game has to be finished." I'm sure the budget is exorbitant.
Oh my gosh, yeah. The price tag goes up with every delay, with everything. The price tag just keeps going up. If they're like redoing a bunch of it, I can only freaking imagine. Oh my gosh. Whew.
I didn't realize, I was reading on, Wikipedia, that Halo has become one of the highest grossing media franchises of all time at 3.4 billion just
Hmm.
in game sales, not including, outside stuff, TV shows, movies, memorabilia,
It's
graphic novels.
huge. This is something that PlayStation, I think, to this day does not have, is someone as big as Master Chief in a franchise that on its own is bigger than Halo. It's
Yeah,
huge.
maybe maybe Uncharted might become that.
It might.
Reading that the movie just wrapped production, so that could turn into an interesting, maybe trilogy of movies.
Absolutely,
If
and
it
I
comes
love
out.
Uncharted, but yeah, I mean, so far, even though people love these games like that and God of War and whatnot, just
Yeah.
Halo, like Master Chief and Halo is so iconic. There's a reason he shows up in the launch trailer that we're seeing a million times on YouTube right now, and
Yeah.
on the box, and
And I
so
think
yeah.
that the other thing with the PlayStation franchises is they're not big multiplayer properties. They're, a
Mm,
lot of PlayStation's bread and butter is single player, story modes that you play, it gets great reviews, really cool game, but you move on, you
yep,
know,
that's exceptionally
kind of
true.
stay in the like ether for a couple months and then just kind of move on. It's like, yeah, that was a great game back then, but yeah.
Not a lot
Halo,
of
it's like,
worlds you just live in like you do in
yeah.
Halo. We just live in that
Yeah,
world.
I mean, Halo 5, it's not like Halo 5 isn't the front of anybody's mind, but there's probably at least hundreds of thousands of people playing it around the world at any given moment.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing, for being how old the game is. It's still, you jump in, you play it. There's new modes, there's new content they release, and that's pretty cool.
Absolutely. And I really am looking forward to this game. Like honestly, I think the ideas, even though yeah, I mean the graphics weren't like amazing in that
Yeah.
trailer, I think a lot of the ideas there I was actually really excited about. Like the open world
But even
aspect.
Halo 5, the graphics were not
Yeah, it was not the best
anything.
looking game. Like Gears
Yeah.
5 looks like, or Gears 4 looked a lot better
Yeah.
than Halo. It just
that would be a great that would be a great goal to hit. Honestly, if we could just have it look like Gears 5.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that would look wonderful.
It's just not the kind of game that Halo is. With the Xbox, the first Xbox, Halo.
I
The
feel
Halo
like it
games were
was
stunners.
in that. Yeah, it was in the first Halo.
Mm-hmm.
Not even really so much in the second Halo, but it really was the first one. It was like, wow, what can the Xbox do? This is what it can do.
This is like a PC. Holy crap!
Yeah.
And then
since then, it hasn't been that.
Yeah, by the time 3 is around, it's like, okay, this looks good, but it's not. No, there's a lot of other games that look better on the 360, and so yeah, I mean, I don't think that needs to be your stunner. Honestly, like you can go to other games for that, and just make sure it looks decent enough, looks appealing, and the gameplay is what needs to be. And that could be the problem. I don't know. We don't know what the problem is, but I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's it's probably touchy subjects that they don't want to bring out into the public and talk about.
They might not even have their plan ready. They're probably trying to figure out what they're gonna do. I don't know. I mean,
yeah, I guess the real question for the public is, well, how far along are you guys? How far out are we from a game? Any guesses?
Yeah, absolutely.
That would be enough for me. Just like, okay, our goal is July, or our goal is March, or something like that.
Because before this,
they don't want to disappoint people like they did with Cyberpunk.
Yeah,
so
of course.
That's a tricky thing.
Probably smart of them sometimes. Sometimes better to say less than too much, like they do kind of over with Cyberpunk. But yeah, it's at the time this was delayed. I was like, when it was first delayed, I was like, yeah, we'll probably see it in February, March. Yeah. But now
I was still holding on to that.
Yeah, now seeing this, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know when in 2021 we're going to see it, but I guess all we can do really is wait for them to say something.
Yeah. Very frustrating.
Yeah. But, we're going to we'll have tons of games to play regardless. There's no shortage of games, and I'm super excited to play them on the next gen machines that are coming. So still good news ahead. The hype train is still full speed ahead. So yeah, great. Next week, I don't know what we're going to talk about because it's going to be tough being like, oh man, here are the reviews of the new consoles. That's going to be tough. I don't know how much you want to do that, but I don't know. We'll figure something out. I don't know.
I guess some people have you heard from GameStop yet? About when you can pick up?
I went to GameStop today. And I talked to him about it. I was
like, still don't know, man.
She gave me a definitive answer. I don't know if it is gonna be the definitive answer. I'm gonna check again the week of. Regardless, next week I'm still gonna check and be like, hey, are you sure nothing's going on? Because so what they told me is basically nothing special. There's not gonna be a midnight release or anything like that.
So they're just gonna open at noon like normal.
Open at noon. There's no tickets being handed out. It's just show up with your receipt or your ID or your number. And
so there's no rush or anything, obviously, because you're already pre-ordered. So
I've ordered pre-ordered, so I don't have to wait for a new.
So you can just go after work, basically.
Yeah, I took the day off, so no. Yeah, but
you wouldn't have to, is what I'm saying.
I definitely wouldn't have
reason to rush.
I could have showed up whenever that day, and I would have my console, guaranteed in lieu of some sort of disaster. But yeah, I'm super excited. I'm ready. But I think that about does it. Unless there's something going on right now. Unless oops, they're being released right now. I don't know.
All the movie theaters are open right now. All the big movies have been released simultaneously. We gotta go.
Oh shoot. Yeah, we'll have a great and safe week. Elections are coming up, so vote if you haven't done it, and obviously just be nice. Be nice to each other. Be kind and gracious, and all the don't add to any of the turmoil. Try to be a force of good out there.
That's right.
But be excited for next week. Even if we won't have our consoles in hand, I'm excited to still keep that hype train moving just a few feet more until they arrive at our door. I didn't mean that to rhyme.
I can't wait. So excited.
Absolutely. Pleasure as always. We'll see you next week.